Hi guys, I'm Scratch, and today we're going to be talking about how to add details to your builds. I'm going to be giving you 6 areas to consider when trying to add details, with the last one being something you're going to want to avoid doing. And I thought my main aluminum factory is a great place to show you how to add details to a build. First thing we're going to look at is how to use depth to add detail to your builds. The golden rule with depth is the more the better. What I mean by that is you want to have as many different levels as you possibly can. This could be adding cutouts or adding sections that protrude from your build. Pillars are a really great way of adding depth to a build. Using them to frame a door or other elements like these pipes can help them to really stand out. If you look at this doorway, you can see how I've used walls to create depth. I used nudge to create this doorway, and I'll have a video diving into the power of the nudge feature coming soon. So subscribe and hit the bell if you want to be notified when that video drops. As well as horizontal depth, you want to also consider vertical depth. You can see here how I've put these refineries on platforms, and then I created pits around them that the outputs can flow down into. I've put the walkway in between the two in the middle so you get a really good view of both. These separate levels add a lot of visual interest to this area. Using angles can help smooth the transition between different levels, and they can be used to break up those 90-degree angles, stopping our factories ending up looking like boring square boxes. Colour is a vast subject, and if you want to, feel free to dive into colour theory and go crazy. But I'm just going to give you a few basic things to think about when using colour in a build. I tend to pick 2 colours for a build, a main colour and an accent colour. With this build, I went with white and green. I then used those colours to add detail, like this green stripe that runs around the building. This also helps with cohesion in your build as well, making it look like all part of the same facility. Finally, on colour, don't forget about lighting. As well as helping you to see, light can add a dash of colour to your factory, as I've done here with these green lights. Again, it helps to pick a colour scheme for your lighting, as I have done here using mostly white for the main areas and green as a highlight colour. There are so many different types of buildables in the game, but it's easy to use them in one way and get stuck in a creative rut. Try thinking out of the box and using things in a way that they were not created for. A simple example of this is using walls to create a slatted look. It's easy to do using nudge and adds depth to a build. Here I've used power poles to look like antennas, or here I've used hypertube wall holes as decorations. Both of these are good examples of using an object in a different way than it was intended. Just making part of an object visible can look good as well. For example, I've used roof pieces here to add these ridge lines around this building. Also, combining different elements together can help create interesting detail pieces. For example here, where I've used a merger, some signs, and some other pieces to build this decoration. Thinking about what would naturally fit in a space in the real world can help you come up with new ideas of how to decorate that space. This can be as simple as adding a sign that makes the space more real, all the way up to adding maintenance bays for vehicles, such as this. This all helps tell a story about your build and adds detail by making it feel like a real place. One way I've done that here is by dropping relevant looking parts and equipment onto the benches. Also, thinking about how a space will be used can help you come up with details to add. For example, this is my train station, and it's where goods would get delivered and dropped off. So I've added a drop-off area with crates and parts and pallets made from signs to make it feel more real. Adding realism into a build can be fun, as it gives the opportunity to add some Easter eggs, like this hidden train maintenance area here, or in my Mad Max inspired weapons factory, which I'll link here. Let me know in the comments how many Easter eggs you can spot in that video. The best way to add detail to your builds is to show off the main reason you built it in the first place, the production. Try to show off your belts and pipes, as having them on display adds a lot of movement to a build and will make your factory come alive. For example here, I've got the aluminium ingots waterfalling down the front of the building. I've tried my best to match the belt speeds to the amount produced, so they are mostly full. Try highlighting belts with lights to draw the eye. Or instead of using one belt, split it into multiple to create a feature like I've done here. As long as you keep it clean and don't go overboard, it can look really good, which brings me on to my final tip. A word of warning, try not to go too crazy. Unless the look you're going for is meant to be overwhelming, less is more. For example, with colour, as I said, pick 2 or 3 and stick to them. By all means experiment and try things out, but don't throw too much at one build. If you have a ton of ideas, that's great, but make sure they all work together. If you have some ideas that don't fit in your current build, just save them for the next one. Try and pick 2 or 3 main focuses, and it will result in a much cleaner build. If you want to hear more about how to choose what to focus on when planning a build's look and style, why not check out this video where I explain how I do that. I've been Scratch, thanks for watching.